The taxes in America today. A bit earlier, I talked to another member of the House leadership, Jeb Hensarling, out of Texas. Jeb Hensarling, good morning and welcome back to America's Newsroom. I'm going to get to tax cuts in a moment here, and especially that meeting at the White House that'll happen in 2 weeks or so that we just heard from Kevin McCarthy. You said this yesterday. You said our nation is at a tipping point. I have seen what happens when Republicans lose their way. What do you mean by that?
Well, I was there the last time the Republicans had the majority, and frankly, too often in appearance and too often in reality, Republicans didn't live up to their principles. And it was one of the reasons we were turned out. And I think we all very much realize that the American people didn't so much affirm us in the last election. They rejected the policies of President Barack Obama, Nancy Pelosi, and Harry Reid. But by doing that, they have given us a second chance. And I'm dedicated, as is Speaker-to-be John Boehner and the rest of our leadership, to ensure that Republicans don't commit the mistake they made last time. We know what this election was all about. The American people want more jobs, they want less spending, they want a more accountable, limited federal government, and that's what we're going to work for.
Let's get to one of the big issues, and that's tax cuts. Do you have a clear understanding as to where the president is on this, or have things been a bit squishy, reading the signals from the White House?
Well, no, I do not have a clear understanding on what the president's position is. And I would just say this. Number one, we're really not talking about cutting anybody's taxes. We're talking about preventing automatic tax increases that even Democrat economists like Peter Orszag, one of the authors of Obamonomics, has said this is a bad idea. And so I don't understand why elements of the White House would still be putting forth a plan that would raise taxes. A lot of those taxes would go on small businesses at a time where we're still suffering through almost double-digit unemployment.
And you know in the House that you don't have the numbers right now until January anyway to get this through the Republican way. How many Democrats support your position?
I don't know the answer to that, Bill. We've seen some in the past talk a good game. They just didn't play a good game. Now, a lot of those will not be coming back in the next election because their constituents have held them accountable, but they're here now. And how they'll vote as lame ducks, I just don't have an answer to that.
All right, let me get to one more question on taxes. And that's all this discussion about a national sales tax. 6.5% is the number that's been thrown out there. Under what conditions would you support that?
Well, unless we repeal the constitutional amendment that allows for the income tax, I would never support it. Never support it. You would end up with both. You would become Europe. There's cases to be made that in place.
You get rid of the income tax, or you'd slash it to the point that it compensates for that 6.5%?
No, you'd have to absolutely get rid of it. You would have to absolutely pass a constitutional amendment, in my mind, to get rid of it. I think, frankly, a more feasible process is to put together a flat tax. And, you know, principled conservatives can come out on either way. I think it's an easier lift. But bottom line is our tax system is making us less competitive. Not just the level of taxation, the complexity of the taxation. And it's one of the things that I at least applaud the Erskine Bowles and Senator Simpson, who co-chaired the President's Fiscal Responsibility Commission. I don't agree with everything in their plan. I don't necessarily agree with the entirety of their tax plan. But to essentially flatten out the tax expenditures in order to bring rates down to a flatter level is a huge step in the right direction.
Okay. Americans are waiting for answers, as you know, and businesses in America are looking for direction. Jeb Hensarling.